Season 11 already? Haven't y'all run out of broken-ish to talk about? Ugh. Well, if you haven't, what can we expect in season 11? Well, I'm so glad you asked because we're talking about it after the break.
Brokers, welcome to another episode of Broke, where we talk about the unbelievable ish this country has done to keep us broke. Now here are your hosts, Amber and Erika.
Hello, brokers. I'm Amber.
And I'm Erika.
And we're back.
Burp, 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 burp. I don't know. I don't have a good air horn sound that I can make with my own body. I don't have a good one.
Burp, well, as long as you know, you shouldn't be offended by the fact that I wholeheartedly agree. Wow. Anyway, welcome back, everybody, to season 11 of Brokish.
Welcome back. I was starting to sing Welcome Back, Kotter, but do you even know that, Amber?
Girl, yes, I know who Welcome Back, Kotter. I know the show. I mean,
okay. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know you're significantly younger than I am. So.
Agreed. So for the millennials, it's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you
without
a dope beat to step to. You know Aaliyah?
Don't. I know you're not even. Anyway. Do I know the woman that is in fact from my generation? Yes, I do.
That's true. that's true.
But yeah, it has been a long time. And I just want to say for the record, because I'm not a lawyer, but I do believe in the record. And so I want to go on it and say that these very long breaks are courtesy of Amber. I just want to be very clear about the fact that, y'all, I would have been back, but Amber is always like, oh my God, Erika, I guess this is what millennials are like. Oh my God, we need rest. We need relaxation. Rest is restorative and all of these other kinds of things. And it's revolutionary. So the reason why we've been gone is because of Amber.
How long did we wait for season 5 of Yellowstone? How long did we wait to see the last season of How to Get Away with Murder? I mean, all I asked for was 3 months. I didn't take 2 years. I didn't disappear. I mean, you don't have to rewatch or re-listen to every episode. I asked for 3 months. And y'all, Massa over here be acting like I asked for us to take a hiatus and build a studio or something. It's the drama for me.
Well, Amber, because it has been so long, I have a lot to catch the people up on, because, the people care about me. And so I need to, get the people caught up on what I've been doing. I can't even remember because it's been so long. But let me go back 3 months and try to think about the things that have been going on.
Oh, darling, tell the people.
So let me see. Anyway, so I've been to a couple of academic conferences, which I appreciate. I'm not an academic at all, but I do appreciate just the time to go to a place and just talk about stuff that other people will think you're strange for wanting to talk about. Right. So I like, and I'm not a nerd, in, I think, the traditional sense at all. And so I like to be able to be around.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I wish I were, but I'm not. So it's a desire of mine. I'm not there. Okay. So I like to go and listen to the nerds nerd out. And it's really, really fun for me. But let me tell you, Amber, did I tell you, girl, I was at a conference and I was actually presenting. I was presenting about this idea of activism in the academy. Is it possible? Is what we do on this show activism or not? And ultimately, I don't think I know the answer to that. I'm just like, I think we need to leave it up to our audience, right? Other people will judge whether or not they believe that we're activists, whether we do or whether we don't. And so I used the episode from Hope Bryant to talk about what we do on the show and how we, in last season, use it as a platform to debunk misinformation in the community, right? And so afterwards, I was pleased because there was one woman that I did not know and had never met, and she didn't know me, and she was like, based on what you're describing, it feels like activism because of X, Y, and Z. And I thought that was kind for her to share. And then there was a man, Amber, who came, a white man, girl, and he came up. He was like, I watched the Hope Bryant episode, and I was like, you did? He was like, yes. I watch Black liberation media all the time. And he was like,
yes, white man.
He was like, I can't believe you kept your composure doing all of that. I was like, I know. But he went on to say that in his view, he thought this was activism. So again, I'll leave that up to the people. Y'all can fight about it on YouTube, whether or not y'all think Amber and I are activists. Certainly I would be more than her, but that's not the point. So you can fight about it later. But so that was the academic conferences. So that was that part. And then oh my gosh, I can't even remember. We went to San Antonio for Easter, which was very nice, and got to hang out with my in-laws, and that was actually very awesome. And I appreciate my husband's family for how they are very sort of open in their faith expressions and just very warm with me and my children. So that was good. And then we moved into Taurus season, which by the time this airs, the Geminis will be back. But anyway, it's still Taurus season now. My birthday is tomorrow. So let me quickly tell you about my drama that happened to me this morning because I know you care.
Of course.
So Amber, back when I used to be a disciple of Oprah Winfrey. So this was many years ago. Okay, let's say 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm going to admit it. I've evolved. Okay. But anyway.
Was it 15 or 20 years ago?
For sure. Okay. More than that. But okay. So Oprah talks about how she would always go to the doctor around her birthday because that way it was easier for her to remember when she would have her appointments. So she would do all of her doctor's appointments and visits around her birthday. And I was like, you know what? That makes sense because this was before we had calendars like we do now and I could go back and search for something, right? So It's like, that makes sense. So since then, I've been going to get to the doctor near my birthday. Like I said, my birthday, as we're recording this, my birthday is going to be tomorrow. Well, so I set up my appointment and it was going to be for this morning. So I get my little car and I'm driving to the doctor's office and the people are like, hey, doctor can't make it. She's sick. And I'm like, but I'm on my way to the anyway. So I pull over to a parking lot and I'm talking to them and we're trying to reschedule it. So I was thinking about what I was going to do because I didn't go to the gym this morning because I had this doctor's appointment. So where I pulled over, there is a donut shop that I like to go to, Amber. And so I said, you know what? My birthday is coming up. I'm going to give me a donut.
You ate a donut?
Let me finish because this story gets a bit more embarrassing.
Oh, okay.
So I go to the donut shop and usually there are only two donut shops. I like their glazed donuts. So I usually go when I go to a place and I don't know them, even though I know this place, I get an old fashioned because people can't mess up an old fashioned, right? So I get me a chocolate old fashioned. I get me one donut, which I'm pissed because the donut cost more than $1. It was $1.19, which is crazy. That's not the point. So I get my one donut. Now, the first mistake was whenever my husband goes to the donut shop, he'll call me and ask me if I want something. And I didn't even call that man. And so I know you're not listening, but I didn't call you. No, him.
Oh, okay.
I'm apologizing to him because I didn't call him and ask him if he wanted a donut. So I get my little donut, I get in the car and I'm like, okay, well, I haven't exercised and I'm not meeting Amber till later. So let me just go on my walk. So Amber, I, at almost the ripe old age of 48, put a chocolate old fashioned and a bottle of water in my purse. And I go on a walk and I'm on a walk eating the donut. And somehow it just feels like that's not right. I just feel like people who are in the act of trying to exercise should not be eating donuts at the same time. It feels wrong, but that is what happened. And sadly, that's where I am in life.
Oh, that's when you should be eating a donut while you're walking. Now it's like you never ate a donut. You walked it off. See,
I can't believe you're not more outraged at a person walking as exercise and eating donuts at the same time.
No, I mean, I'm more offended by the fact that you got an old fashioned. Like, at least, I mean, if you don't know how the donuts taste and you don't like them, what you have to do is you have to walk in. See, this is where being fat all your life really comes in, because you have proficiency in certain things that little people don't. You ask them, can you sample a donut hole? Can I taste one of your donut holes, see what I want? And then if the donut hole is trash, you just walk out. But an old fashioned,
delicious. So I was on my walk. I did see several of the people I know out. Everyone's out today walking, but here I am eating my donut as I'm walking. But it's fine. It's my birthday. I can do what I want to do.
That's right. And if you want to waste your birthday calories on a chocolate old fashioned, Jesus still loves you, and so do we. So I mean, I love it for you. I'm just glad your back center set like that never happened, because you ate it while you walked. So, you know.
So what have you been up to in these 6 months since we've been together with the Broker? Tell the people.
You know what's crazy? What? I've been so busy. I mean, I don't have no job still. Y'all, I still ain't got no job. It's been 6 months.
Amber, can you tell the whole story about you not having a job, please? Please tell the whole story.
Okay, so here's the thing. When I left my job, or really when my job left me, because if you tell the whole truth. Okay, so I just decided I was going to be more intentional. Like, you know, I graduated from law school in the real estate recession 2010. So I just needed a job. I got the first job I could find. And that kind of take whatever you can get mentality has been my mentality really my entire career. But I just decided this time, I was like, you know, I am going to be intentional in my job search. And I'm going to really think about what I want to do, what I don't want to do. You know, I turned 40 in November, y'all. Auntie is auntieing, okay? And I just decided I'm at a place in my life where I don't want to do things that I do not want to do anymore.
Amen.
And so, you know, I was really fortunate when I left my job, or when my job left me, that I kind of had some offers going out the door from some of the firms that I worked with while I was in-house. But I didn't want to do that. You know, I want to be present in my home. I want to be around to see my kids grow up. I don't want to be working 18, 19 hours a day. So I declined those offers. And I have been fortunate to get a few more offers since then.
Several offers.
Yes. Okay. So I have turned down 14 jobs. So it's probably me. It's probably not even.
And that's not hyperbole.
No, it's not. I have literally turned down 14 jobs. And so, yes.
In this economy.
Yes, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the problem. But I have also decided that y'all gonna pay me for my pain. I'm not gonna be out here working like no Hebrew slave without getting paid. So in this economy, there are a lot of people who have the audacity of, I don't even know who, but they will look you in your face and ask you to provide Herculean work for not Herculean money. And I'm just not doing it. So yes, I have been saying no a whole lot, but it has been a blessing because I have been so busy these last 6 months. Like, I seriously look back and I wonder how in the world I did all the things I'm doing now while I worked a full-time job. Like, I don't even know.
Because you're single-handedly keeping Jack and Jill afloat.
Wow. So I proudly serve as a grade group coordinator. And yes, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to wrangle these kids. I am an Uber driver. I'm a short order cook. You know, I am, you know, my husband's loving his secretary, working every day of the week. I'm at the job when no one else is there, helping him get on his feet. Okay?
I can sing that song, but you can't. Anyway.
I mean, so yes, I've been just really busy, but it's nice because I've been able to, you know, do things that I kind of don't always get to do. I pop up to the school and have a little Chick-fil-A with my children. My one of my kids started playing AAU basketball, so we've been, traveling and doing all of that. So it's been nice, We had Easter. I cooked dinner, a big country Easter dinner. We had greens and macaroni, chicken and dressing, candy yams, all the things to celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so yeah, it's been nice. I think I'm gonna have a job by the end of the month. I think I am, because
by the end of May, you think you're gonna have a job.
Severance is like trouble. It don't last always, okay? So I got to get a job. So I am about to start back working again. And in some ways I'm sad because I think I make a really good stay-at-home mom. It's just unfortunate that the math is not mathing in my direction for that. But I mean, give me a couple of years and y'all might look up on the reboot of Real Housewives of Dallas and see your girl. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh. And Amber, I would be a terrible stay-at-home mom, mostly because I hate domestic duties.
You do?
I hate the domestic duties. And so, for example, because it was just Mother's Day and because my birthday, when it's Mother's Day week or my birthday week, I am off of domestic duties, right? So that's like our rule in the house. And just like when it's Father's Day, he doesn't have to do his domestic duties. I'll do them. But his duties, he does the laundry. So if it's Father's Day, then I have to do the laundry, which isn't a big deal because it's laundry and the machines do the work. So whatever. But I do the cooking. So when I'm off, he has to do the cooking, Amber. Now, when I married this man, he had a career. He had bought his own home. He was a fully formed human adult. Okay. So he was cooking because he was eating, and he wasn't eating out all the time. But when we got married, our agreement was that I was going to cook, and it was fine because I took that on and he was doing his thing and I was doing my thing. I'm not being overburdened with domestic duties in my relationship for anybody who is thinking that. We split things equally. He just does other things. So anyway, I've been cooking for this family though for like 16 years, and every week is the same. What do y'all want to eat? Tell me what you want to eat, because from Sunday through Thursday, we eat in the house and I got to cook the food. But I'm off, right? So I'm excited. I'm like, hey, they're like, what are we having? Did y'all put the grocery list on? I don't care. It's not my business. So Amber, let me tell you how pissed I am. Because this man yesterday, for my dinner, on Sunday and Monday, it was fine because he had food from my mother's house because she cooked. So really, he didn't even have to do all the cooking because he took leftovers from my mama's house. This man then defrosted some tamales from the H-E-B grocery store.
Yes.
He then defrosted some tamales. I complained about not having vegetables on Tuesday. So he done made a bag of frozen vegetables.
Yes.
In a microwave. And he cooked some Zatarain's rice and some canned black beans that were awful. And then whenever he makes tamales, he puts some chili on top, which I think is disgusting. So he had chili, tamales, raggedy rice and beans, and mixed vegetables. And he fed it to me. And I'm like, it's not even worth being off. And I think this is weaponized incompetence that he's doing with me. And I don't like it.
Well, here's my question. When he cooks, are they allowed to have seconds? Because do y'all remember that the Mormon lady
nobody
from Utah,
wanted them. Nobody wanted
that
them.
From Dateline, that she got arrested because they found out, like, when the kids would ask for a snack or something, she would like put them in a corner in a dark room. So Erika, when she cooks, like, they're not allowed to have seconds. And so I just feel like there is a 48 hours episode forthcoming about how this lady don't let them kids eat till they get full.
Okay. We've been shooting the shit for way too long in this episode, but let me clear my name real fast. Okay. because I cook on Sunday for the whole week, I know how many servings I have to get me to Thursday. Okay, I'm just trying to get to Thursday, Amber, because I already said I don't like cooking. That's not to say that my children don't have other food in my house that they can eat. They just can't eat more of that specific thing. If I say, here's your portion, that is your portion. Now, you can eat all the other food, but don't mess with the stuff that I have cooked because I hate cooking just that much. Okay?
Oh, okay, girl. Yeah. All right. So anyway, let's move on. We'll talk
I thought we were
about
talking about season 11.
We are. Yeah, we'll talk about your episode of Dateline after it comes out. So we are very excited this season because, well, we're excited and sad because I keep hoping in the back of my mind that the day will come and we'll be like, yo, we don't have nothing to talk about. Like, we don't have nothing to talk about. But we're in season 11 because we still have things to talk about. And so one of the things we wanted to do this season is to really
cleanse our palate from Hope Bryant. That's not
That's why we needed 3 months off.
Right.
But no, we really wanted to go through system by system and sort of highlight some of the broken-ish, or really not even the broken-ish, but the intentional ways that inside of that system we see the ways that anti-Blackness is present and the ways that things are constructed and designed to uniquely and severely and disproportionately impact us. And so we want to start the season out rooting our work in the pedagogy and in the tradition of Brother Malcolm X. And so our first real episode is going to be with our Brokish family. Is he our Brokish cousin, our Brokish brother? I don't know.
I call him my British bestie, but yeah.
Okay. Our British Brokish bestie, Dr. Kehinde Wiley. Is that his name?
Andrews. So he's not your friend.
That's the artist. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. I was like, I just started going blank while I was talking. But yes, Dr. Kehinde Andrews. And he wrote a fantastic book, which I have started reading. And it is called Nobody Can Give You Freedom, The Political Life of Malcolm X. And so, I think it's really important for us as Black people to get clear on how and just to what extent capitalism, just to what extent this American political experiment was designed with our hatred in mind. Because if you don't understand that, it's really hard sometimes to see the latent inequities that are present inside of the systems that we're going to talk about.
Yeah. And I think it feels to me like a good time to do this, right? So May 19th, shout out to the Tauruses like Malcolm X. May 19th.
That's right. Malcolm X is a Taurus. That's right.
Yes. So on May 19th, 2025 will be the anniversary of 100 years of his birth. Right. And so with Kehinde's book coming out, with Jared doing his series I think it'll end up being 12 or 13 weeks of sort of the life of Malcolm X, what Malcolm had to say, what he thought. This felt like a good time to use Malcolm as this grounding force for us to sort of do a survey of the systems and really get back to the broken stuff that we talk about in Brokish, right? So it feels like a really good place to go for the season. And I like having something to focus on. So as sad as it is true, with us having our friend Hope Bryant as a target, it was nice to have something to rally around. And so this season, I'm happy that we're rallying around somebody that I think we have a lot of respect for. Yes. But honestly, I don't have enough insight into and knowledge about. So I'm happy. I'm also reading the book. I'm happy to be listening to the shows that Jared has. So I'm happy to just be learning more. But so we can use Malcolm and then, of course, other people as sort of an entryway into observing the systems and how they are acting against us.
Yeah. And I think it's also really important at this particular point in time because sometimes, because of this present American political state, we can assume that, oh, this is unprecedented. Oh, this is, so out of sync with who we are as a people. Oh, this is, so uncharacteristic. And really, it's just cartoonish. It's just more cartoonish than it typically is. It's more flagrant, it's more explicit and less nuanced, but it really is the
We've heard
same
it all before.
exact playbook. And so I am excited about doing this at this particular time because I hope that when we go back to just everyday racism at some point in time, that people are not less alarmed and, less.
Remember how you put the genie back in the bottle? How do you go back to everyday garden variety racism?
I mean, I think it'll come. I mean, I feel like that's the American trend, after
It's just
a
the pendulum swinging.
yeah. I feel like that's kind of always what happens. People get up in arms because it's in their face, and they're like, "Well, I don't want it in my face. I like it nuanced. I like a slow drip, of my IV." So yeah, well, I think at some point we will go back to just everyday normal garden variety racism. But I hope that when we do, at least people are informed and have enough information to be able to spot that the same issues are present and the same systemic inequities are continuing to occur, and we ought to be just as outraged when it is mixed with sugar as we are when it's mixed with shit. So yeah.
And there's a whole lot of shit going on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So much so that I do feel this sense of fatigue with the news. Then again, to your point, are the things that are going on, are they unique in the sense of what they are? No, but I do think there is a uniqueness to the chaos, and it just wears on me in a way that I have not experienced before, because it's almost like, what he do today? Just, it's just, and not that, and maybe that's me, because I should be looking to wake up every day and be like, what they doing today? Because they all doing something. But I guess he's just so proud about the things that he's doing that they just are sort of throwing it at me, and I'm tired. I'm tired. But yeah, maybe that's my own problem, and maybe I wasn't thoughtful or careful enough before.
I think the fatigue is fair, because I do think that there is an intensity of the cruelty that we see in this particular season of our political life here in the United States, where the cruelty is
the point, as they say.
Yeah, it's the point, but it is also celebrated. Like, America has a very good way of
we taking our children to the lynchings.
Well, yeah, but pretending like cruelty is the byproduct of this, promised greatness, that we, anything that has ever happened bad here has been a moment in time. Slavery was a dark stain on the American, history, civil rights and Jim Crow, that's just a dark stain. But this is very much the first time that it seems like people are owning the cruelty for exactly what it is.
Sure.
And being very cavalier about the fact that it's the point, it's the main dish, and it is what they've always wanted. And I think that's the part of it that's hard for people to accept. And I think that's why they lie about it too.
But I do think this is an interesting point in history for me, because it does feel like the first time in my lifetime that I've seen things just laid bare, right? Like, so often these things were done in secret meetings, behind closed doors, in rooms I wasn't in. But yes, to have everything be on full display is frightening and enlightening at the same time. But honestly, I hope that it causes people to move. I hope it causes people to care. But honestly, I get such a sense of apathy from my students that I don't know. I'm not sure if their parents are more interested in political life and discourse either. I just think because people are so tired, they don't have the energy to care.
Do you think it's fatigue? Because I don't think it's fatigue. I think it's conditioning. I think that we have been effectively conditioned to believe that wealthy people, that men, that white men are entitled to wield power in whatever ways that they please. And
yes, I mean the fatigue of capitalism, right? Like
well,
the grind of having to do all the things makes me so
and still
tired. It
be
makes
and
people
still
so
care.
and still
Yes.
be involved in civic life.
No, that's fair. I just feel like we're being confronted with our own apathy in so many places, even outside of the politics. I see some of the stuff being said around the Diddy trial, or I see some of the ways that people defend Elon Musk, or, even people like Jeff Bezos. And it just makes me realize that we are completely bought into this notion that there is a two-tier system, and that powerful, wealthy men and that powerful, wealthy people really do not have to play by the same rules that all of us have to play by. Um, and I just think it's interesting to watch somebody like Donald Trump. Like, I don't know, did you see the news conference where he was meeting with the Saudi Arabian prince, and he was nodding off to sleep like a whole ass grandpa, like watching the 5 o'clock news, like head hitting hard.
Well, look, that man is almost 80 what? And I'm 48. And let me tell you what, I probably would have been nodding off too. But that's what I'm saying about things being on display in a way that I've never seen before. I can't imagine any other president being in the Middle East and then the government of Qatar saying, would you love a jet? And then he's like, you know what? I would like a new jet. Or I guess the jet is not actually new, but I would like a fancy jet. And everybody's like, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. And then at the same time, when he's there, that there's also a deal that gets signed between Qatar Airways and Boeing. And it's just like, again, all these things that used to happen behind closed doors are now happening in my face. But again, is that a blessing or is that a curse? Because I appreciate the brazenness in some ways, because I'm like, y'all, do y'all see this? Y'all not mad at this? This ain't crazy to y'all either.
But
But
I
then
think
again,
I think there has been, and I feel like I need to tuck my privilege in just a little bit, but there is this intellectual decline that is happening. And it's happening so rapidly because I remember being alive at a time when Americans collectively decided that a man not knowing how to spell potato was enough for him to not be able to be president. Okay. Like, we actually were alive when people said, what is this rubbish? Like, you can't spell potato, you shouldn't be president. And I think this is one of the reasons why there has been this push to gut public education, because when people are uneducated and ill informed, they will create stories that are not rooted in facts and that are oftentimes against their self interest to make sense of what they're seeing. Because how did we get from there? What was that? 90, 92? What was it? 88 or 92? I think it was 88. Was it 88 or
I
92?
don't remember.
But it ain't been that long ago, okay? That was
I'm gonna push. This was what I'm gonna push back on. I'm gonna push back on this idea that is there a decline in our collective intelligence? I would say probably yes, that's true. Like probably undoubtedly that's true. But I think the narrative that people who are well educated are more progressive or they're less racist, and all the people who have been presidents have been from the Ivy League. You know what I'm saying? All the people who are in the president's cabinets, regardless of party, are from the Ivy League. So I'm like, the notion that the people who are running the country, or the people, Republicans who are running the country, for example, that they are not well educated, that they are dumb from the, like, it's just not true. Like, people just are racist.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm not talking about them. I'm talking
racist.
about us, the proletariat. I'm talking about the people who are boots on the ground being impacted, and our ability to sort of collectively push back against some of the foolishness happening. I think a lot of our loss of that has just been because people are significantly less intelligent.
And I think that a lot of, and I'm going to say intelligent, I think that's, for me, I'm glad you said that, as opposed to educated, because we know they're not the same thing.
True.
But I think that's just because we don't have the same community connections, right? Because
I received that.
When I was raised, right, I was raised in more of a community where there were other people around who weighed in on my education, who cared to teach me things that were not my parents and were not my teachers. And unfortunately, we've lost a lot of that community connection and community education that happens. And that, for those who believe or don't, a lot of that education could have happened in the church, or just community institutions that don't exist in the ways that they did before. And so now we Black people don't have access to that in the ways that I think are important. So
that's true. And I also think a lot of those institutions have been co-opted by the Black excellence wing of Blackness too. So now
the people in Jack and Jill.
Yes. I mean, I'm grown enough to say it,
Look, and the people in AKA.
I mean, like, I'm grown enough to say it, but like my grandmother said, you got to learn in life how to take the fish and leave the bones, baby. So that's kind of how I choose to navigate those spaces. But yeah, I mean, Black excellence is dangerous.
A scourge. Yes.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And so when you have Black people aspiring basically to whiteness, it creates a lot of fake righteousness and fake merit, and it makes you more inclined, I think, to rationalize things that really are unjustifiable.
And when you talk about Black excellence and sort of like how I think a lot of these spaces get co-opted with performative things, I'm thinking of our local friend here in Dallas, Jasmine Crockett, for example. And I'm like, again, I think Jasmine is an exemplar, right? Like, this is not me pointing out like she's anything extraordinary in terms of what I think she's doing. But I do think that people like her can be particularly harmful, because I just want to know, beyond the theatrics, what are the politics? I want to know, beyond the nursery rhymes, what are we doing for the benefit of the people? And I don't know, but at the same time, I'm conflicted, because I understand in 2025 there is a need to have people looking at you, and visibility is important. And so I don't know how as we talk about, this season, when we talk about politics, I don't know how Black people do politics in a way that gets people to look at them but that's not just them putting on a show.
Well, I think the problem is twofold. First of all, a lot of them, they need to go back and revisit, the good Brownstone song. We had our good sis Nikki Gilbert on, but it's say it, do it, show it, prove it.
Prove it.
You can't just say it, right? You got to show it, do it, prove it. You got to follow the Brownstone method all the way through. But that's the gotcha. You can't do that inside of that system. It's not set up for you to say it, show it, do it, and prove it.
But do we not want Black people in this? like, back to the
yes,
to the fight, right? Do we not want people in the places to change? Not that we think anybody finna change Congress from within, but do we not want Black Congress people at all?
We absolutely do. But then you gotta make your peace with the fact that probably the best they can do is what Jasmine is doing. Put the show on.
TikToks.
What else? What else do you think that a Black politician that has aligned themselves with the Democratic Party can do? Like what can they do? Now, I think what they can do is they can go to hell like the Republicans. Like they could have passed an executive order legalizing abortion when they had the opportunity. I mean, they could have executive ordered and loan forgave. Like, so I'm talking about, yes, if you want them to just go tit for tat and play the same political strategy, just do it on the other side, they can do that. But if you talk about actually creating like true equity, reimagined systems, like if that's what you want, the best the girl can give you is a TikTok.
There are no legislative tricks out there. Like, I mean, in the whole playbook of politics, like it's not nothing else you could do.
Yes, but they're being paid not to do it. Of course there are. You're watching the Republicans do it. But the Democrats are taking the same money to agree not to do it, except the people giving them the money are like, y'all can go around and talk about it. Just don't actually do it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Wow. So back to the fatigue. Because you didn't just settle here and make me sad. It's my birthday. Why are you treating me like this?
I make you sad, but I just want you to know Jasmine is by any definition of how you would measure a Democratic congressman, the woman is doing her job. She's doing her job. She's doing her job.
Well, ain't that a shame?
Ain't it a shame? But it's the truth. She doing her job.
Yeah. So, okay. And we're not gonna talk about it today, but I do want to engage the question of, there were many people who were like, vote for Trump, or sorry, not vote for Trump, vote for Kamala, because you can't, like, you have to basically vote against Trump. Like, people are like, I don't love Kamala, but I don't like Trump and I don't want Trump to be the president, so I have to vote for Kamala, right? And I am a third party voter, right? So I couldn't vote for either one of them in good conscience. But now the conversations have come around about, see, y'all should have voted for Kamala, because if you had voted for Kamala, we wouldn't be in this situation now, right? And then the conversation on the far left, of course, is that it's all the same, like, honestly, like, so, but Trump makes it really hard.
It's true.
Trump makes it really hard for me to look up and be like, I mean, we live in Texas. At the end of the day, my vote doesn't matter in Texas because Texas is a red state, right? So I could have voted for Kamala 1,000 times and it's like, it still would not have mattered. But in other places, I do want to think about, I have like a really bad foot cramp that just attacked me right this second. And I'm trying not to cry. But anyway, have the conversation about the material differences between Kamala and Trump. And Trump, right? We have the example in front of us. And so we know for Kamala, we'd still be guessing. But yeah, just quickly though, do you feel like, how do you feel about that question?
I feel like one thing that kind of irks me about liberals on the far left, people like you, third party voters,
wow.
Did you put me with? I did. You, the Jill Steins, the Butch Wares of the world. Happy birthday.
When I tell you that I'm being attacked right now.
I feel like there is a way that y'all can be intentionally obtuse about why people create that binary of Trump or Kamala. And I feel like there is nothing wrong with people who are confronted with a trash ass system doing the best that they can to figure out who is the person least likely to wreak havoc on my existence.
The harm reduction strategy
in this political structure. I think what my biggest issue is that we are not arming people to walk and chew gum. So yes, you can be harm reduction over here and still recognize we need something different without making people feel like the only way they can pursue or imagine something different is if they completely abandon logic over here and act like Jill Stein is ever going to be president.
For sure. And here's my thing related to that in terms of you grouping me with these people. I still have this foot cramp, however.
Next time, do like fat people and sit down and eat your donut and then go about your business.
So here's the thing that I think I agree with you that I don't like. I don't like people pointing fingers because I think that there's a valid argument for people to make who are like, to your point, I'm voting this way because harm reduction, I think this is going to be the best situation given the realistic options that we have for myself, my family, my community. So I'm doing this, right? And so I don't have a problem with those people because I understand why they're doing that, right? So while I don't want to do that because I think I have to stop supporting the thing that I don't want anymore. So that's really my rationale, right? I don't want to keep supporting a thing that I don't believe in. But I get why people do what they want to do. So I agree with you. I don't like sort of the name calling that happens, which is also why I think this season it will be good for us to have a conversation about our ADOS and FBA friends as well. in terms of some of what I think is the name calling and the vitriol that happens on both sides. So
yes. And also I want to just say this, and people can think what they want. But some of this is the people on the left doing exactly the same thing as the people on the right. Like, it's very easy to sit up and talk your talk when you know that you ain't never gonna have to be accountable for none of that shit you're talking about because it's never gonna happen. And so it's very easy to sit up and talk about how, oh, yeah, I'm gonna give reparations, I'm gonna do all that. Please.
But here's the thing though. 20 years ago, if you're talking about people on the right and you're talking about like the Tea Party as an exemplar, people didn't think that what we're witnessing now would be what we're living in is what would have happened. And look at it. So to a certain degree,
the difference is they were willing. No, it's not even about planning. They knew. If you go back and look at Tea Party people and the architects of it's not even radical, but the normal Republican right now and all of these evangelical people, they were very willing to get into the gutter. They were very willing to play dirty. They were very willing to engage with the system, to put people inside of the system who they knew would do what they wanted so that this current could be ushered in. And so that's what I mean when I say like it's never going to happen, because you can't sit outside the system and not be thinking about how you're going to infiltrate. Like it's a either or.
You have to sit outside the system with your matches.
Yes, you either got to sit outside the system with your matches or with your shit to break in. And that's what the Tea Party did. And I think that's the main difference. So my thing is, why are you talking about a system and talking about and critiquing what's happening inside of a system that you don't wish to partake in? While we over here figuring out who we want to fight at the saloon, whether we want to fight the psycho with the AR-15 or the black lady that's representing the dark white people money on the Democratic side who might do less harm to us. Be over here building something so when the time comes, we have something else. But y'all literally are just sitting over here talking.
And but we got a whole show where we're just sitting over here talking, Amber.
No, we're educating people. We're educating people. And we're trying to empower people. But if you're literally sitting over here talking about reparations or talking about universal access to health care or universal living wage, and you're not willing to get in the gutter and fundamentally rework the system to make those things possible, but you also ain't building shit over here, then they need to do like you and go get them a donut and go for a walk. That's what they need to do.
Well, we are not going to talk about these things now, certainly, but I do want us to have a conversation about the left and the right. I do want to have a conversation about ADOS and non-ADOS Black Americans and what that means and what the differences are. But I want to make it so that we have those conversations in a way that isn't judgmental, because I think that's unfair to our Black audience. I do. Because I think what happens is that people get into the finger pointing and the vitriol and the name calling, and then you really can't really move past that. Because once you didn't call me a bitch, then like
it's on site. I received that.
So I'm just saying, let's put the bitches to the side and let's have a conversation.
I received that. I received that. Okay.
So what else you got before we sign off and I go celebrate my birthday?
Well, we might need to do a little practice on that twerking.
I was not twerking. That was just my chair dance.
Okay.
I do not know how to twerk. I'm going on the record again. I do not know how to twerk. I've taken lessons, but if there's anybody who can teach me how to twerk, I'd be willing to pay for it.
Okay, well, bitch, you could have told me that. Because I had no job for 6 months. If you wanted a twerk tutor, I could have been doing that.
I haven't seen your work, so show me your work later, and then we'll discuss if I want to be my teacher.
This lady just asked me for a twerk portfolio. That's hilarious.
Well, you showing the white man all your stuff. You in all these interviews, and I ask, and now you're in an uproar.
What are your strengths and your weaknesses? Oh, child. I guess I'm not getting this job either. I guess I'm just 15.
No, you're going to turn it down like you turned down the other 14.
Anyway, I actually do hope you have a very happy birthday. Poor twerk form and all.
I hope you get a job that you love, Amber. That is my wish.
Thank you.
In the name of Jesus, I hope you get a job you love and that pays you the money that you want.
Amen. Be it done unto me in Jesus' name. Yes.
So, I know it's the summertime and you're going to say some shit about, I don't have homework because it's the summer and it don't. Anyway, do you have something for the brokers, Amber?
See, that's what happens when you assume things. In the law, we call it speculating. What I was going to say is that if you are going to come along on this journey with us in season 11, I think it would be very helpful for you to read Kayende's book.
But you can't get it yet, though, in the U.S.
You can, if you can pre-order it, though.
Yeah, but they can't read it.
Well, that's true. But when is it coming out? Because I saw the pre-order link. Do you know when it's coming out in the United States?
I think it's September.
Oh, well, shit. Never mind. Then.
Right. I mean, we'll still by then.
Still pre-order it though. Seriously, still pre-order it.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah. Well, then no, I ain't got no homework. Because I was gonna tell them to pre-order it because I thought it was coming out in next month.
I don't think so. But for all y'all that's gonna be traveling to the UK, then y'all can go ahead and get the book. But for everybody else in the US, I think we're gonna have to wait until the fall.
And bring some back, and we'll reimburse you. If you go to the UK, bring some back.
We are not gonna reimburse you. Amber might reimburse you, but we are not gonna reimburse you. So Brokers, we got a lot to talk about this season. Again, we know amongst family that the systems aren't broken, but in terms of how the U.S. positions them, they are, and tells us about this American dream, what we can achieve. So we are going to take us down the road of looking at all of these systems and specific examples of how they are being harmful to us. So we hope that y'all are going to strap in and be with us along for the ride in season 11. So thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to catching up with you on the next episode of Brokish.
All right, good people. Thanks for listening to Brokish. For more episodes, visit us at brokish.com or subscribe, and Brokish will get direct deposited into your favorite podcast app on the 1st and 15th. Share Brokish with your friends and join the conversation on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Music for Brokish is Come Get Some by Blank and Kit. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.